Hey everyone, it's Tyler from Zephyr Epic here, and welcome to the May edition of the Hockey Hobby Roundup. Today we are going to be going over who you could expect to see as Young Guns in 23-24 Extended Series, along with a couple other notes on that product, and also a little bit of a sneak peek of what 24-25 Upper Deck Series 1 is going to look like, alongside who could be some headliner Young Guns for that set. For the purpose of the entire video, we're going to be using a rookie cutoff date of the end of the 2023 calendar year. The reason why I chose that date is that it seems to line up with previous years that Upper Deck has used, and also I think they would have included Brennan Othman if it was January 4th into the Artifacts Redemption checklist. By the way, that is live. I'll leave a link in the comment section or description below for you to go ahead and check that out just to see who you're getting in your Artifacts Redemptions. On that note, let's go ahead and let's get right into the Extended Series Young Guns and who I think you'll probably see as the Young Guns in the set. The main five that I think you're going to want to pay attention to are going to be Adam Fantilli, Logan Cooley, Simon Nemec, Matthew Savoy, and then Yuri Kulich. I think all of them have top six potential, with some of them having elite first line potential in Logan Cooley and Adam Fantilli. Savoy, Kulich, and Nemec all are very good prospects in their own right. I just don't think they have quite the same level of talent and just potential as Cooley and Fantilli do. But nonetheless, that's five really solid Young Guns. The only one that I'm not sure of being in the product is Yuri Kulich. He did debut before the cutoff, but I would have expected him to, again, get a card in the Artifacts Redemption checklist just because he was a first round pick and he's been really, really solid. So he might be held back, but I think he'll probably be in just based off how the cutoff works. Because right now I currently have 25 Young Guns, a Young Gun checklist, and then it works out to there being exactly 24 first round picks to fill out the full 50 card set. So yeah. In terms of some other Young Guns to pay attention to in the set, you have Georgi Merkulov for the Boston Bruins. He put up a lot of points at the AHL level. He is a little bit older. However, again, just whenever you see that much production from a player at his age in the AHL, you kind of just want to make sure you're paying a little bit of attention to them, especially on a team like the Boston Bruins that is going to need young bodies coming through their lineup given their cap situation. Isak Rosen is another Buffalo Sabres talented first round pick forward who I think you're going to, again, want to pay some attention to, just given his scoring pedigree in every single league he's played in, including the AHL. Again, he's a mid first round pick, and I think there's a lot of reasons to be excited about him, Kulich, and Savoy in the product. Buffalo honestly looks like they're just going to be an absolute blast of a team to have in this product, because you're also going to see some Zach Benson rookie content, you're going to see some Devin Levi rookie content, and they also have Ryan Johnson, who is another first round pick, just a defenseman who's more of a stay at home guy, but still probably should pan out to be an NHL regular. So there's four really solid Young Guns for them, and then some just sweet other content that you can expect to find in the product. The Habs have a decent looking prospect in Emil Heineman as well, so pay attention to him. Habs rookies always tend to do well right out of the gate just because they tend to have a bit of a premium placed on them. Again, every time you see a Habs rookie, they generally will sell for a little bit more than any other teams. It is the Hab tax. It is a very real thing. We've talked about it, I think, a couple times on the channel, if not in all of our breaks, just because Habs players just tend to sell well. Their fans are absolutely crazy for their players, and rightfully so. It's a lot of fun to collect your rookies and prospects, and Habs fans go full out for them. The Seattle Kraken also have two pretty intriguing prospects in Ryan Winterton, who's a forward. Again, has pretty good scoring stats and should be able to be a mid-6 NHL forward with a little bit more upside. But the one I'm a little bit more intrigued about is Riker Evans. I think he's a very solid defenseman, and it could potentially pan out to be a top 4 defenseman, which, hey, it's something that the Seattle Kraken desperately need. I think he's going to get a lot of opportunity on that blue line, especially depending on who they bring in as a new head coach. Finally, the final one that I would just kind of highlight here would be Ivan Miroshnichenko. He is the Washington Capitals forward who has looked decent so far throughout his early NHL career. Not great, but just fine for a player his age. So someone, again, to keep an eye on. There is a skill ceiling there, and I think you do want to pay attention to players that have a lot of high-end skill, especially in a situation where they're going to be given a lot of opportunity to succeed, like he will be in Washington, because yes, they made the playoffs this year, but no one really expected them to, and their primary goals for the next couple of years are just going to be trying to get Ovechkin to break Gretzky's goal totals while building and developing their rookie crop, so I would expect to see him get a lot more playing time next season. In terms of the first round pick cards, there's actually something I want to bring up here, and that is the fact that you'll probably see Connor Bedard in that set. And it's going to be interesting to see what they do with that card, as I'll throw up the design for last year's first round pick cards and the design for a short print rookie from Series 1. And you can kind of tell that they're very similar, so there might be a little bit of confusion there, but I hope Upper Deck does something fairly unique with the card design to make sure that they stand out from each other, because I really don't want to see the value of that short print rookie being brought down by, just a kind of standard insert rookie card type thing in Extended Series. But yeah, on that note, generally speaking, the first round pick cards don't sell super well unless you get a parallel in them. Again, all of these cards will have their typical deluxe, exclusives, Outburst, Outburst Red, Outburst Gold, those types of parallels. And so they're going to be pretty sought after, especially the top end of the rookie crop. I think overall it is actually a fairly solid Young Gun crop, all things considered. You've got about 5, 6 to maybe even 10 Young Guns that I would say would be, in the top half of Series 1 or Series 2 from this year. And that is really good to see. It is definitely a little bit more balanced throughout the products this year. So Upper Deck did plan for that, which is, again, kind of nice to see. But where the real value of the product is going to come in is through the Young Gun canvases, because that checklist is going to be stacked. You're going to have Connor Bedard in there. You're probably going to have Adam Fantilli in there. Leo Carlson will probably be in there. Fraser Minton, Kevin Korchinski, Connor Zary. There are a lot of good players who are probably going to get their Young Gun canvas in the set. So every second box, you might, find yourself getting a really good Young Gun canvas alongside your Young Guns. And for those unfamiliar with how Extended Series works, typically you'll have your 26-ish Young Guns and your 24-ish first round picks, however many there are. And it's essentially all of them have the same pull rate as a Young Gun, so they're all kind of grouped together into the 1 and 2 packs, which is what it'll be this year. In previous years it was 1 and 4, but this year it's 1 and 2 because of the format change. And so, yeah, you're probably going to see on average, 3-ish Young Guns per box and 3-ish first round picks per box. One final thing worth noting with the Extended Series is that last year they did put the highly coveted acetate Young Guns, the thick ones that you normally saw in SP Authentic, into the product. So just be on the lookout for those, because those are a super premium card. Generally one of the highest value Young Guns you will find throughout the entire year because they look super sick. So yeah, if they throw those in as an Easter egg this year, expect the Connor Bedard one to sell for quite a pretty penny. And again, if you are interested in picking up a box of Extended Series, we will be having our pre-orders go live today. There will be a link in the description below for those, so feel free to check it out. Moving on to 2024-25 Upper Deck Series 1, and honestly, it's looking like a very similar base set design, but the Young Guns are definitely different. I'm very curious to see what they look like in person. It's always tough to tell, kind of how good the card will look in a 2D render mock-up without the foiling and the etching and all of that, because, they can look not great on paper, but then in person look really good. So I think it's a pretty neutral design, and I'm honestly pretty excited to see what the photography is going to look like. I mean, having the Young Gun crop that we could potentially have next year is very interesting, I would say. There are some really good players, but I think it might be a little bit weaker in general compared to this season, just based off of who might debut for next year. But on that note, we do have some players who will likely receive their Young Guns in Series 1. And at the top of the list, we're going to have probably Cutter Gauthier, who is already confirmed based off of the mock-ups. But we'll also probably see Logan Stankoven. We might see Lane Hudson, who is the dynamic defender for the Montreal Canadiens. Honestly, I expect that card to sell really, really well day one. Some other key names are going to be Jesper Wallstedt. He is a goalie for the Minnesota Wild. I think he is the best goalie prospect not in the NHL at this point. And then you also have some really good supporting players in Owen Zellweger. You have Bradley Nadeau for the Carolina Hurricanes, who is really good. Matt Rempe will probably get his Young Guns next year. And I mean, that card's just going to go absolutely insane because he's going to have a really big cult following for him. Some other key players that I think I will quite like are Frank Nazar, Brennan Othman. I think Arshdeep Bains is going to be actually a pretty popular Young Gun. He's very well liked in the Canucks fan base, so I'm looking forward to hopefully getting some of his Young Guns in our hands. Marat Kuznetsov is a very highly skilled Russian forward for the Minnesota Wild, who should get a lot of opportunity there considering they're going to be a little bit cap strapped due to the Parisi and Suter buyouts. Josh Doan looked really good for the Arizona Coyotes, aka the Utah, whatever they decide to call themselves. Speaking of which, those team names that they suggested don't seem very good. I hope they go with the Mammoths because I don't know. The Yetis is way too close to the Colorado Avalanche for me. Some other interesting names are Brad Lambert and Gavin Bridley. Both of them are seemingly pretty interesting prospects. There are a bunch of really good middle six forward type players in this. They're just not quite the same top end, just based off of what we had this year so far. But yeah, I think overall it's going to be pretty solid. I honestly think Series 1 next year is going to be a little bit better than Series 1 next year, but the rookie crop as a whole will be weaker just because I love Macklin Celebrini. I think he's going to be very good, but I don't think he is going to be at the same level as Connor Bedard. And honestly, that is really high expectations for any single prospect. So yeah, overall, I think it's going to be a fairly solid product, and I think there's going to be a lot of decent young guns that you can expect to find in Series 1 and even Series 2 next year. Just that absolute peak potential overall throughout the entire year is probably going to be a little bit lower, which can be a good thing from a collecting standpoint because the products might not be quite as in demand as what they were this year. In terms of other Series 1 insert sets that are going to be kind of new, we have the Young Guns Renewed set, which are essentially they take the base Young Guns of previous years, so like Ovechkin's, and then they kind of change up the background. They worked with Luke the Cardist on that, so I'm going to be very interested to see what these sell for on the secondary market and see how they're valued. You'll get about 3 per box, and it seems like it's going to be a living set for the next few years. Oh, and there are also high gloss and exclusive parallels of them as well. Again, gonna be curious to see what those sell for just because they are technically a reprint, but it's been a while since Upper Deck has done reprints of Young Guns, and I like a little bit of a fun twist on them. So hey, who knows? We might be pulling Ovechkin Young Guns at this time next year. And one final detail on the Young Guns Renewed set is that it will feature players up through and including the 2013-14 season. So that is Nathan McKinnon's rookie year. There will be 50 of them in Series 1 and another 50 in Series 2. Again, going to be very curious to see what kind of the market's take is on them, what other people's take is on them. So leave a comment below with what your thoughts are on the cards. Again, just something different, going to be a fun insert to collect, but I don't know how valuable they're going to be. There's also a new Living Series 1 insert coming, and it is the Holo Foil set. These are supposed to be very rare and featuring the best players of the game today. So this will probably be living across the next few years of Series 1, but these seems like the kind of, I don't know if holographics is the right word for them, but kind of the holo foil inserts you expect to see in SP Authentic. So if these are really rare case hit style cards, I'm going to be very excited for them because holofoil cards always look super sick, and I think the top players are going to sell pretty well from this, so pretty interesting seeing that they're bringing this back. Just going to be a fun little insert. UD portraits are back in 24-25 Series 1, except they have a paper stock refresh. They will be printed on foil board from the sounds of things, so looking forward to those. I'm not quite sure if I like the design or not. It's going to depend on how they look live because, again, the image you see in image previews doesn't really account for the foiling or anything else that they do on the cards, and they can sometimes look really flat compared to what the cards actually look like in person. Dazzlers will also be back, and I just don't like the font that they've chosen for the cards, but that's just me, so yeah, those are kind of the main returning inserts alongside UD Canvas that you can expect to see in 24-25 Series 1. Oh, and population counts will also be back in the same format that we know and love them as previous years. So you'll have the population count 1,000 all the way down to 1. A lot of the new common inserts that you'll see are based around gaming terms for whatever reason. You have Aimbot, which will focus on the league's best goal scorers. That'll be on a foiled card as well. So those could look pretty cool depending on the design. You have Checkpoints, which focuses on checkers and grinders, so that's going to be pretty cool as well. You have City Satellites, which the checklist is full of superstars, and the players will be popped out with the background of their home city in a satellite view, which will look kind of cool, I think. Again, if it's supposed to be on a foil board, could look pretty sick. Some of the other new sets include A-Lines, which will feature all 3 players from the top line of all 32 teams. It will be pretty interesting to see if they will do the top 3 players or actually the top line, because some of those will change wildly depending on what team it is. Some of them have 2 really good lines, and it's hard to tell what the first line is. So gonna just be curious to see the checklist on that one. There's gonna be a breaking news set, which will kind of highlight the top moments from the 23-24 season with a bit of a description on them as well and an image from that game. So I always like those types of sets in your flagship series just because it's a good year in review type of card. And so I'm pretty happy to see them in the product. And then there's the entire new gaming insert set. I'm going to leave a screen grab of that because there's a lot going on there and I'm not quite sure how to follow it. But again, it really seems like they've played a lot of video games at Upper Deck recently, just given aimbots in the gaming subset. So yeah, going to be a pretty interesting product overall. I think the Young Gun crop's going to be better than this year's Series 1. I do have a little bit concerns about the entire 24-25 rookie crop, but overall, I think it's going to be a lot of fun to open up. It'll be interesting to see if they get a Macklin Celebrini Easter egg card in there like they did with Bedard. And yeah, I'm looking forward to it in general. But yeah, that wraps things up for today's video. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, feel free to leave a like. Again, if you have any comments or questions, feel free to leave a comment in the comment section below. I'll try to respond to as many of them as I can. And yeah, as per usual, thank you so much for watching. There'll be a link in the description below to the extended series pre-orders. And again, as well to our group breaks. And we'll try and get the group break stream live on here today and moving forward. So take care, have a good weekend, and I will see you in the next video.